person working their normal job hours. When
6 weeks
the
ago,
donation to you, then you
I put together a number for a company called IC Scan.
somebody's volunteering after hours, big weekends that normally don't work.
Big in our books.
It's not counted as in-kind.
And they called me today and said, we're negotiating a contract on the building. We're using more money. Now, we got the contract to do what?
Because they own the company?
Yeah, I mean, but they think we
Well, he has his car.
set aside in the city.
Right, but he's not doing it at the
And
company.
be out next week. And I said, well, get ready.
Whatever it is.
He's got a home office.
Oh, well,
But everybody
yeah,
just
probably.
sets on, and then just screams when you're not ready.
But what I would do is if you have any questions,
It's crazy, so.
she says her cell phone number is there, you can call her anytime.
I called her twice and she never called me back.
Really?
Craziest marketer I've seen.
Crazy?
My 45
Yes.
years.
This is going slower towards the holidays.
They're all the same size boxes. I got a suspicion that
That's typical.
we should probably open them all at once.
And then, of course, I've learned to leave before Christmas and don't come home until after New Year's.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I looked up the exact.
But this year, I'm coming back Monday the 28th. I'm going to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
And then go back.
I read it to her.
It's crazy.
She okay with it?
It's crazy.
Hey, Rick, this is chicken.
Huh?
This is chicken.
That's next year's. Yeah.
This year's quite
Time
been
bombs.
Okay.
It's
Thank you.
appropriate. I'm just talking to myself. And you're not joining us tonight or what?
Huh? Oh, we're gonna have Jay?
I don't know.
Where's Jay at?
Is Jay?
I mean, he's probably saving it for tonight. I've been there before with that back stuff. Oh, hey Mike,
Yeah.
on this,
I can't see her.
fine with me except this one. Because,
What she says we can't.
but if I looked in the code, there's code 9-3 that says we can't do it because of a vote. Then there's code 9-4, the one after that, that says if you do want to go out and research and you can and do it, but you have to come back, still have a vote. How are you doing? Which is exactly what they're saying to do, so it's irrelevant to have it in there.
Yeah, and you'll, Richard Turner's probably going to address that tonight.
Yeah.
How are you?
Been good.
I'm fine.
Been good.
How's that?
You have some information?
Oh, there you go.
Well, I'll Santa.
Okay, do you want me
Dennis,
to take that now?
you
And
can
then when you're
explain?
talking, I can pass that
No, I
along?
can't.
Dennis, this is Dear Santa. I can explain.
No, I'll pass it out when you start
That was
talking.
great.
McDowell
Does that
Mountain
sound okay?
Reserve?
Oh man, I get the
Naughty. Just plain naughty for Mike.
And we
I'm
talk
always
about-
naughty. I get that every year. I'm starting to get a complex, man.
Just plain naughty.
Okay,
You
what is
like
the
her.
topic?
Oh, man.
So that's not on this agenda, so you'll talk and call to the public? And you'll be,
I'm going to tell Charlie you hit me.
I didn't get here.
well, this is to call to the public. This is where you would talk about anything that's not on the agenda.
Hey, Henry.
I don't believe
Thanks,
there
Beth.
isn't anything on here for this meeting about the truck. So this would be where you want to
You
talk
okay?
to the public.
Having a good moment.
Good.
Good.
Yeah,
Last
like you
item
did or
is
what?
the
No,
area
mind altering drugs today.
Because I don't.
You're going to start twitching on us, aren't you?
No.
Did you go to the consult today?
Yeah. And he said, that's about the worst rupture he's ever seen.
Okay.
Oh, really?
It shows up the other day. I came here yesterday.
Yeah, don't do anything till it starts really getting bad.
Ready?
I love this.
Oh my gosh, just
That's checking
Hey,
on something.
read between the lines, buddy. Oh, Henry's not there. He's the one that wasn't speaking to the mic.
I have not. I keep trying to give him this thing. I'm going to have to give up
Here,
now.
Jenny, I got you.
Oh, Mike, you're shutting up.
Oh, you can thank Rick later.
I love it when they're personalized. Thank you so much.
I don't remember what the, I think I got Dennis like one that's supposed to be for like an engineer. You know, I
Did
tried
you
to.
download them off the internet?
No, I
Travis
found them
makes
at
your
the
own cards.
fair. I was
Walmart
keeping the
does
sales
that.
tax.
Make your own cards.
No, I
Good evening. Call the regular session of the council to order. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for invocation. Dr. Soderquist, welcome. How are you?
Good evening, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Please join with me in prayer. Oh God, by your grace, we have breath and heartbeat and life. You sustain us and help us grow. Help us tonight as we gather in this place. Open us to the reality of your presence. Guide us always by your Spirit. Lead us in the way of righteousness, justice, and safety for the whole community. We pray for our community. We pray for our senior citizens and for our junior citizens and for everyone in between. Help us in our problems. Add to our successes. Enable our faithfulness. Thank you for all who serve in elected and appointed positions. Thank you for our community volunteers. Thank you for those serving our country. Now, in this holy season, give us all a spirit of camaraderie and love and service for the common good. We pray these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. And thank you, Dr. Soderquist from Fountain Hills Presbyterian Church.
You guys aren't getting hot, are you?
I think I missed a birthday last council meeting because he wasn't here. Councilmember Archambault, happy birthday. A couple weeks ago. Hope you enjoyed your time away from town.
I did. It was refreshing.
Yes, it had to be chilly up there. We're glad you got back safely.
It was great.
And a couple of announcements. It is holiday season. Happy Hanukkah to those celebrating, what would it be, the fifth day of Hanukkah, fifth night of Hanukkah. And then Merry Christmas coming up here on the 25th. Please remember to shop locally here in Fountain Hills for all your holiday gifts and enjoy your dining around town during this holiday season. And coming up after the start of the new year, January 2nd, 8 a.m., there's a guided hike of the Fountain Hills McDowell Mountain Preserve and called New Year's Resolutions, and starts at the Golden Eagle Trailhead. And at that same time at 9 a.m., there's another docent-led art walk here at the Community Center to view the public art with a guided, trained docent. So enjoy the start of the new year with plenty to do here in Fountain Hills, and Happy New Year to everyone. Today is the 17th of December, and we're going to also now get to recognize the Engineering and Streets Division with the Innovation Award. And Rick Davis, do you want to explain the Innovation Award that you've crafted for our staff?
Here, Mayor, Council, members of the public, it's been a year now since we announced a program called the Fountain of Innovation, and challenged our employees to bring forth ideas that would either decrease the cost of financially of providing services without decreasing that level of service, or increase the level of service without increasing cost. Either way, we consider those to be viable projects. We challenge our department heads to be champions for this in each one of their departments. And as of just a few days ago, we had 20, nearly 20, I think 19, projects that were submitted. And so we take our hats off to our folks that, despite very difficult circumstances they find themselves in, the town finds itself in an economic downturn. This has only, I think, provided additional fuel for innovation, because after all, innovation now means that we're not doing more with less, but innovation is going to be required for us to do the same with less, not more. So it's going to become as an important part of the business vernacular as return on investment and net profits. You're going to hear the word innovation laced throughout discussions in business and government. So with that, we were very pleased this year to award our first Fountain of Innovation Award.
Excellent, and I'll go through some of the reasons why the Streets Department was awarded the Fountain of Innovation Award this year. While all innovations were notable, the Town of Fountain Hills Streets and Engineering Divisions went above and beyond their innovations and will save taxpayers nearly $70,000 this fiscal year. A couple of the items of note are recycled riprap. MCO Properties donated nearly $25,000 worth of trenching material to align 6 washes with jagged pieces of rock to help prevent erosion during major rains and monsoon. Another item is crack sealing of the streets. The town discovered it could save nearly $21,000 a year by using an outside company to handle this task. Number 3, cleaning of the storm drains. The town is now able to perform this mandated task by using our own vacuum street sweeper, acquired with grant monies, instead of paying a contractor. And that's a net savings of about $11,000 annually. Another item is LED lighting for the traffic signals. The town has completed the installation of LED lights at all its traffic signals and will now save $10,000 or so in power alone, another step towards growing greener. The recycling of our street signs is another one where the town saved nearly $1,200 last year by recycling the aluminum signs and received a credit for the creation of new signs. And last but not least, the towel service. The Streets Department staff buys their towels now instead of using a service and washes them right in the shop, saving nearly $1,000 a year. So therefore, it is my pleasure to name Streets and Engineering as the town's 2009 Fountain of Innovation Award winners, and want to thank all the staff members who submitted ideas for this year's award. But keep up with the great innovations, keep them coming. And Tom, are you here? Who's here to receive the award? I'll meet you down there with the plaque. It's pretty neat having the first plaque, you're being recognized on the new plaque as the Fountain of Innovation Award winner. Tom, thank you for your leadership, and thanks to your staff for bringing forward some great savings to, as our town manager Rick stated, to keep our levels of service up, but reducing the cost to the taxpayer. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I appreciate that. Thank you, Rick, for undertaking that and bringing that idea to our community. Excellent. Now we'll move into the scheduled public appearances and presentations. The first is a financial presentation by Jill Shaw, CPA with the auditing firm of Heinfeld, Meach and Company, PC of the Town of Fountain Hills Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, the CAFR, for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2009. Welcome. How are you doing?
Great.
Good.
Mayor, members of the council, thanks for having me here tonight. Like he mentioned, I'm here to present the CAFR for the year, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. I understand that you all have seen copies of this or maybe have a copy in front of you. But first, before I get into the CAFR, I first want to thank Julie and the entire finance department for their help during the audit and helping it go smoothly. And once again, get done this year. I'm sure they're all glad that it's over. So but on page 1 is the most important thing about the report, and that is our audit opinion. The town received an unqualified, or also known as a clean opinion, again this year. So that means that we didn't note anything in the numbers that would result in a material misstatement in the amounts. So that is always a wonderful thing. Other highlights in the report, I would encourage everyone to read the management's discussion and analysis that starts on page 5. That's really designed to give somebody just a quick overview of the numbers, the highlights, what changed from the prior year, that sort of thing, without having to actually look at, in detail the rest of the report. So I would encourage everyone to read that. And some of the highlights from this year were the general fund balance ended in a positive position with a surplus this year. So that is particularly important, considering the economy this year. Other notable items are on page 8, you can see that total net assets, that's basically the bottom line for the town. When you take all the town's assets, less any debt and liabilities, it gives you those total net assets, and those only went down less than 1%. So considering, the decline in sales tax revenues of 15%, that is a very good thing this year. So to go over some of the statements on page 22 and 23, these are what we call the government-wide statements. And about 5 years ago, GASB 34 came about, which is governmental accounting standards we have to, and the town has to adhere to. They came up with the idea for these statements to be able to show what the bottom line would be, because governments typically have to present everything on a fund basis, and everything is broken up into all these different funds and buckets. This gives you a good idea of, just what the bottom line is. And at the end of June 30th, 2009, it was $120 million. So that's good. And like I mentioned, not much change from the prior year. Then after those statements, starting on page 26, are what we call the fund financial statements, and that's are typically what you think of when you think of a governmental entity with the different funds and all of the different buckets. So these statements still show all of the assets and liabilities, but it's on more of a current basis. These are only receivables and payables kind of within a 60-day window, whereas the statements on page 22 and 23 are all of the existing liabilities and all of the receivables and assets out there. So it gives you just an idea of if the town were to kind of quit today, what would be every liability that would be out there. Kind of the difference between these statements and an annual budget that you see every year. The annual budget tends to focus more on 1 year and more on a cash basis, day-to-day operations, inflows, outflows for that year, whereas the CAFR is probably the only place you'll get the full picture of all of the town's assets and liabilities going from here, including bonds that are due 20 years from now. So that's kind of the difference between this and the annual report. And as far as, who might use this report, your bond people certainly look at this. When you go to issue bonds, it's always included in the offering statements, as well as other people in the, the governmental accounting world. So I think that's all I have on my list. Also in the back is the statistical section after all the financial statements, and that is kind of interesting because it covers a trend of 10 years worth of data. So in a city that's grown like Fountain Hills has over the last 10 years, it's really interesting to see, how they've grown and what's changed. So.
Well, thank you, Ms. Shaw. I ask if council has any questions for you.
Certainly.
Any questions for Ms. Shaw? Councilmember Archambault.
Thank you. Ms. Shaw, so I heard you say something that this is what the bonding companies look at. We do this so that we can maintain the rating. What they look at is they look at what our debt service is, what our assets are worth. Do you guys do depreciation on there? I thought I saw some depreciation. You depreciate the buildings?
We do on the government-wide level. All assets are depreciated.
So when anybody's looking at that, they're looking at investing in the town, they're looking at is the town viable? That's what that's telling us, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with our budget that we do year to year.
Exactly, because on a budget level, you're more looking at what capital assets are going to be purchased this year or maybe the next year, but not in total, what are the town's assets worth, less the depreciation on those.
So when we look at that, what we want to do is we want to look at the health of the town and how we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Councilmember Leger.
Thank you, Mayor. I also found it interesting, as you stated in the back on those 10-year, the data for a 10-year period, that our full-time equivalent employees in 2002 is higher than it is today,
Oh, wow.
whereby we've increased our population significantly and provided increasingly more services, yet our FTE is equal to or below what it was well over 10 years ago, to me, is a measure of efficiency. And last but not least, in the front of your report, it says here that the Finance Department has received a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Reporting, Financial Reporting. And who is that awarded by?
It's awarded by the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association. I believe we abbreviate it so often I forget what it stands for. But this report is due December 31st every year to the GFOA, and they're the ones that award that on the presentation of the CAFR and organization and all those things.
So, Mayor, I'd just like to say I think our finance staff should be commended for this award as well, seeing we're talking about awards tonight. And it's my understanding that this is, I think, the 7th consecutive year that the Finance Department has received this award, if not more than that. So, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, thank you, Finance Department, Julie, Mary, and the team there. I know there are numbers of those awards framed on the wall as you enter Town Hall, second floor. So very impressive, and thank you for inviting all the council members to learn about the CAFR before our meeting here and going over that with, I think probably most everyone met with the staff to make sure we had our arms around it as well. So thanks for the extra time put in, and thanks for your report.
Thanks
for the glowing report. Appreciate it, Ms. Shaw. Have a good one. Thank you. Next presentation is by our Public Safety Advisory Commission regarding Public Safety Day, a scheduled event for February 13th, 2010. Commissioner Ailery, how are you? Good, George. Welcome. Hi, Randy.
How are you?
Awesome. Are you technical support?
I'm the AV guy.
Okay.
He had to put his glasses on, though. It's bad.
And remind council members all speak into the microphone tonight. Bev, they're called, they're public speakers. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, council members, town managers, everybody's involved in town, ladies and gentlemen. On Saturday, February 13, 2010, the Public Safety Advisory Commission, in conjunction with the Fountain Hills Fire Department and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, are going to hold a Public Safety Appreciation Day at the Fountain Park. It's going to start at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to end at 2 p.m. The activities will include and be conducted in the vicinity of the Rotary Splash Park. And they will include the following things: static displays, demonstrations, clowns, everything for people to really get acquainted with our public safety people, because I'm sure a lot of people don't realize what they do. And I want to really thank Fire Chief Randy Roberts for putting this PowerPoint together, because he did an excellent job, and he went above and beyond for us. You want to hit the buttons?
He's doing it from...
Thank you, Randy.
Yeah, great, George.
Well, you got him trained.
Okay, this is proposed activities that we so far have. We're going to have more than this, but this is a proposal: the fire truck static displays, the child safety seat installations, safety, health, preparedness displays and handouts, Blaze the Clown, fire extinguisher demonstrations, Aerovac helicopter display, Sheriff's Department command vehicle static display, bomb squad robot demonstration, sheriff's posse display, and Black Watch display. The button ready? Oh, here we go. Thanks, sir. Okay, fire. The invited agencies also will be there. The surrounding areas have invited agents. They do a lot of mutual aids with our town, and we'd like to have them there too, to make them feel comfortable about everything. And Fountain Hills Rural Metro Fire Department naturally is going to be there. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, the Fountain Hills Care Program, the Fountain Hills McDowell Fire, the Fort McDowell Fire Department, and I believe we're going to have the Fort McDowell Police Department there also. Salt River Fire Department, Rio Verde Fire Department, Fort McDowell Police, Scottsdale Healthcare, Aerovac, DPS, Salt River Project, Southwest Gas. And of course, the location of this will be in the Splash Park facility, in the parking facility right there. And the layout is such, there's going to be a helicopter landing zone in that one area out there, as we can see, and there'll be barricades set up, so therefore nobody can park their cars in there prior to all this going on.
That's excellent.
And, okay. And it's all for Chief Randy, did it well.
Yeah, thank
And
you,
I
George.
really wanna
Thanks for the
appreciate
great
it.
presentation.
And we're going to have a great day there.
Yeah, I appreciate the effort to show our appreciation to our public safety
You betcha.
professionals in town. It'll be a great event for young and old to come out to show their appreciation, and for the community to get to know and to thank those folks that take care of us at our darkest hours. Show them our appreciation. So thank you to the Public Safety Advisory Commission for for getting this event going, and I see our chairman there, Larry, and others, Mr. Finocchio and Edwards out there. Thank you all for serving on our commission and putting this effort together. Much appreciated.
Thank you,
So,
Mr. Mayor.
you betcha. Yeah, we are at February 13th at 10 a.m. It gets started, set up at 9 o'clock in the morning on February 13th. So look, we'll make a couple more announcements as that date approaches. Thank you very much. Yes, Larry, you can come up to the microphone, please. If you can. Yeah, you did.
Hold on to something.
We could bring the mic
That's
to
what
you.
happens when you go out in the desert all day long. I'd just like to say a personal thanks to Rural Metro, who has really stepped up to the plate and helped us out and put this together. And we're looking forward to a big project. And a little pain going on in my leg
Yeah.
here. Excuse me for a second.
I think George covered a lot of things there, Larry, and thank you very
But
much.
I want to say thank you, and we're going to have Channel 3 possibly be there to do something live, possibly, and also KTAR will be broadcasting live, Rosie on the House, to do a safety thing on how to take care of safety in your house and so on. So we're working on a few other things as well, but I want to commend the subcommittee who's working on this. They're doing a great job, and the Rural Metro folks have just really come in and helped us out quite a bit, so we appreciate that. So I just want to say thank you, and look forward to seeing everyone there. It's going to be a great day. We're going to have a good time. So
Yes, thank you, and be careful, or we can have a demonstration on sprained leg wrapping right here in the council chambers. Take it easy, Larry. Councilmember Dickey?
Just a real quick question. Mayor, I noticed that I think the Sunset Kiwanis is taking the Edith House up again. Did you hear about that?
They've been looking at revising that, yeah.
So I was just
They
wondering
need to
if...
renovate it, so.
If Randy, if the Edith House might be involved with this, that if it's going to be up and running by then from the Kiwanis Club. Have you heard about that? Bringing that Edith House back? I remember that from 20 years ago?
Mayor and Council, that's correct. I think they had a big cleanup project on it, and hopefully it'll be ready to go and it'll be in place there. I just also wanted to mention that there was probably going to be a few other agencies involved. It looks like we have County Emergency Management wants to come in, as well as the LDS Church wants to work on 72-hour kits. A lot of this is, the Commission has done a great job with this thing as far as they want to call it the public safety, day where they kind of honor us, but we really want to put it more back on the personal preparedness. That's kind of the focus of this thing. While they're commending us, we really want to make it more personal preparedness. We want to have fire extinguisher demos. We want to have exit drills. We want to have smoke alarm maintenance, but also a little wider emergency issues such as the 72-hour kit and things like that. We would really want to make this thing more than just about us. So, but the Edith House should be ready to go as well, to answer your question.
Thanks.
All right, thanks again. All right, anyone call to the public? Bev?
Yes, Mayor, we have one speaker, Charlotte McCluskey.
All right, welcome. Charlotte?
Mayor, you want to do the roll call?
Oh, thank you. Hold on there, Charlotte. We'll do roll call, make sure we're all here. I think I did skip it last time as well.
Mayor Schlum?
Here.
Councilmember Dickey?
Here.
Vice Mayor Hanson? Here. Councilmember Cantino?
Here.
Councilmember Leger?
Here.
Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Councilmember Archambault?
Here.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome, Charlotte.
Mr. Mayor and Council and our attorney and manager, I know you have a very big agenda, very full agenda tonight, and what I wanted to do was to give you a very, very quick update about the art on the Avenue project. As some of you know, maybe not all of you know, I have agreed to try to pull that project together for the artists, and it will be, application has been made and will be coming before you in January for the permit, for the formal permit process. I'm in the process of interviewing and signing up artists at this time, and I have found that I'm coaching them on how to get their tax ID and their business license for the town of Fountain Hills, because from my point of view, one of the fundamental reasons that we're doing this is to get foot traffic on the avenue, but to increase people's awareness of supporting not only our artists, but everyone who is in the retail business in Fountain Hills. So I just wanted you to know that that process is moving along. There are a number of calendars valley-wide that we're getting some information out to, and I would like you to have access to my telephone number and email address. If you would like to have it, I could just give you a card, and if there's questions or follow-up or suggestions you'd like to make, to contact me.
Thank you very much. Yeah, please pass that out. Appreciate it. Anyone else on call to the public, Bev?
No, Mayor.
All right. Thank you very much, Charlotte, and thanks for stepping up to help with that project as well. Much appreciated. Move on to the consent agenda. Request a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed. Councilmember Hanson.
If I may, I'd like to request that item number 1 and number 6 be considered on the regular agenda.
All right, number 6. And number 1 and number 6.
Mayor? Move to approve the consent agenda without item 1 or 6.
All right, I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Roll call, thank you.
Councilmember Cantino?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Hanson?
Aye.
Councilmember Leger? Aye. Councilmember Dickey?
Aye.
Mayor Schlum?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown?
Aye.
Councilmember Archambault?
Aye.
Mayor 7-0.
All right, thank you, Bev. All right, we'll go on to the regular agenda now. We'll first start with what was previously consent agenda number 1, consideration of approving the town council meeting minutes for November 10 and December 30th, 2009. Councilmember Hanson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve. There was an addition made, let me clarify, there was an addition made to the minutes of December 3rd that I feel cannot be substantiated, mainly because we have 2 Dennises that sit right next to each other. So I'd like to move to approve the minutes from November 10th and December 3rd, removing the addition. Oh, I got buzzed.
You're out of town. You just fit it in just under the buzz there, Councilmember Hanson, or Vice Mayor Hanson. All right, so their latest minutes or additions were suggested by Councilmember Archambault. Is that the latest that I had read?
Correct.
Which pointed out some language that was added. Do we need to speak to that item, or you're making a motion to accept it with those exclusions?
Second.
All right, do we have a second on Councilmember Hanson's motion? Does everybody understand what was being moved? We have a second. Discussion on that? Councilmember Archambault, are you comfortable with that, or would you like to, you suggested that addition?
I'd like to discuss it. There was this was a clarification move. As I was watching the minutes of the meeting, I saw Mr. Kelly turn to Dennis and ask if the number that he cited was correct.
Councilmember Contino or Brown?
Well, I believe he was talking to Councilman Contino. We could certainly put this item on hold for approval and go back and talk to Mr. Kelly and find out who it was he was talking to.
Okay, hold on.
But I think that it's important because it goes further on into another agenda item where Councilman Leger addresses the $800,000 issue.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Contino, did you have a comment on that?
Yes.
Would you use the microphone, please? Thanks.
This one?
Perfect.
When he was talking, there are two dentists here, and he didn't specify which two dentists, and I did not nod, nor did I say anything on any recognizing that. So I think it was unjust for that.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is it's not necessarily that this clarification, that what was clarified wasn't what it's not disputed what was said, but who it was directed towards or who it was alluding towards. So
I believe it was just making an assumption rather than minutes, just recounting what took place.
Okay.
We shouldn't be making assumptions in the minutes. They should be just as it was stated.
So if what was stated was there, would be, I mean, what was stated, so it could be.
Using only a first name.
Okay. So just if the first name was not given in the audio, and Bev, I don't know if you recall exactly, if it wasn't given in the audio, then I would be comfortable with just limiting it to the first name.
That would be an accurate reflection.
And that's
of what
why
took
you were,
place.
are you comfortable with the minutes, including that, everything but the last name, or?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so everybody seems to be comfortable on that. What do we need to do on the motion? Yours was just to strike what had been added. Do we need to clarify the motion, or?
We could just say to modify, changing the council member Contino to just Dennis.
Okay.
Because the statement was, isn't that right, Dennis?
Okay. Is that
Mayor?
Councilmember Archambault?
Yeah, I think that we always try to present open government here, and I think that trying to get the minutes correct is very important because they stay for perpetuity. And I think the fact that it wouldn't be that hard to go to Mr. Kelly and ask him which dentist he was talking to, that we could clarify that to get it in the minutes, because clearly maybe he wasn't audible on the last name, but he certainly was audible on the first name, and I think that it's important that we clarify the minutes so that they're accurate.
Okay. I'm not sure how we would do that as far as accepting the minutes and that sort of thing. Is there a procedural way to do that?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I think that we are using written minutes that reflect what was spoken. So I think that it's probably more accurate to stick with just the first name, knowing that we also preserve the video along with it. So if someone was interested in going back and viewing the video with all the multiple cameras, they could do so as well.
But the video is not held for perpetuity, is it?
Well, we don't keep it as long as we keep the written minutes. Those are the official public record. But based upon the way things are moving towards electronic record storage, we're getting less and less likely that we're going to get rid of the video as quickly as we are.
I'd be all right, Mayor, if we kept the video.
All right, so we got
or do we have a motion to keep the additions to the latest additions to the minutes minus the last name? Is that what we have?
That's what we have.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor of that, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
All right, thank you. Item number 6, consideration of approving or not approving the non-renewing of Town Fountain Hills Community Center's Class 5 liquor license at the time of expiration January 30th, 2010. Councilmember Hanson, or Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. It came to my attention just today, some additional information regarding this. I think we were looking at not renewing it in a way to solve the issues with our nonprofits getting liquor licenses for the community center. And I think we were under the assumption that for them to be able to do that, we could not have our existing Series 5 license for the community center. I was told by the liquor department that we can indeed have both. There is an example like if one of the ballrooms was being used for a special event, say the Historical Society, one of their dinners, our Class 5 license could be used by, like if the chamber business showcase, that type of event could take place using the town's liquor license. The only prohibition is that you can't have alcohol from one event crossing over into alcohol at the other event. But you can have both licenses. And I do know that, I mean, we did get some revenue out of that, and I just thought maybe we should have this additional information before we make the final decision.
Okay. So are you looking to table this item?
I would like to do that, yes.
Okay. Do we have a second to table this item?
Second.
Any discussion on this item?
Just to table, only to the motion to table.
Okay, motion to table, thanks. We have a motion and a second to table, all in favor?
Mayor, I got
Yes,
a clarification
Councilmember.
question. Are we tabling it indefinitely, or are we letting Samantha to come back to us with more information?
We'll need to do it before the end of January, since it expires January 30th.
Oh, so we'll probably have it at the next meeting then. Okay. So we're tabling to the next meeting.
Sounds good. Okay. Sounds good. All right, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. On to number 7, reconsideration of ordinance 0909, amending the Town of Fountain Hills, the Fountain Hills Town Code, Chapter 7, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 7-10, development fees relating to adjustments to development fees for the Town of Fountain Hills. Councilmember Contino asked to have this for reconsideration and placed back on the agenda. Councilmember Contino.
Thank you.
Use your microphone. Good.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Following the vote on this item last meeting, I realized that too late that the percentages of increases to the residential and the multifamily impact fees were 100% as recommended by the consultant. While I could and did support the minimal increase to the commercial and industrial fees, I do not support the 100% increase to residential and multifamily fees. As a member of the prevailing side of the vote, I would like to make a motion to reconsider the ordinance 09-09, amending the Fountain Hills Town Code, Chapter 7, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 7-10, development fees relating to the adjustments to the development fees for the Town of Fountain Hills.
All right, so we have a motion to reconsider. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, no discussion on this item? Do we just have a call for a vote on this, Andrew? Reconsideration?
It's open for discussion as to reconsideration, but not the underlying motion.
Thank you. So, any discussion on reconsideration? Or discussion on the reconsideration? Councilmember Dickey.
I just want to make sure I understand what happens. If we vote to reconsider, it brings the entire topic back up again?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other comments on reconsideration? Councilmember Archambault?
Well, I guess, Andrew, would questions on the agenda item from the previous meeting pertaining to reconsideration, would that be appropriate, or would they be out of line?
The only topic that's available under this motion is whether or not you want to reconsider the last vote and bring it back up for full discussion. If that motion passes, then the ordinance will be back for consideration as if it were brand new.
So could Could I question Councilman Cantino as to his decision to reconsider?
Well, I don't know that we have any questioning amongst council members, but you can certainly pose that question, and through the mayor, if Mr. Councilmember Cantino wants to answer.
That's all right. I'll let it go.
So, Councilmember Cantino verbalized his reconsideration of his affirmative vote at the last meeting to raise, to be in the majority at the time, and questioned the residential aspect of your increase. And now you're coming forward and saying you're not comfortable and you would like the council to reconsider the issue on its whole once again.
On the residential multifamily, yes.
Yeah, appreciate it. That would bring the entire thing up. All right, any other discussion or comment on the reconsideration?
I find this a very interesting situation for myself. I do respect the right of any council person to reflect on their vote, an affirmative vote, and to change their vote. I respect that right. And I think that you have, that Councilman Cantino has very clearly articulated in his written statement his point of view. His point of view, which now will be officially recorded for posterity in the minutes. That would be clear to anyone that reads the minutes in the future. And if I was a council person and someone was to ask me about that, I could refer them back to the minutes. That being said, I cannot support reconsideration of this motion. We've had this discussion for well over a year. We've had this discussion in great detail for a number of months before this council. I don't think things could have been crystal clear to myself in the previous meeting where these numbers were presented by Councilman Brown. They were repeated. The vote was repeated and clarified. So once again, I respect my peer to change his vote. That will be reflected in the minutes. However, I cannot support reconsideration of an issue that has been through the ringer for a significant amount of time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I generally echo that. I think Councilmember Cantino made a statement here at the beginning to reiterate his second thoughts of where he was and his desire to readdress it, but I'm not going to be in favor of reconsideration. Any other discussion on reconsideration before we look for a vote on that? All right. All in favor of a motion to reconsider indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Mayor, 6-1.
All right, thank you. Item number 8, consideration of a temporary use permit for the Town Center Merchants Group repeating outdoor sales events for 2010. Gene, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is an item, request to consider a temporary use permit, TU 2009-06, for outdoor retail sidewalk sales in the town center area. Lori Gary, on behalf of the Town Center Merchants Group, is requesting that Town Center merchants be allowed to conduct outdoor retail sales and displays on days coinciding with the many holidays and special events occurring in the town for the calendar year 2010. As you know, these sales events are of the same nature as this council approved for calendar year 2009 a year ago. Most temporary use permits are approved administratively. However, multiple reoccurring like-use events, such as these outdoor retail sales events, require review and approval by the town, as stipulated in zoning ordinance section 5.16.b.4. These events will run from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. on the approved dates. Merchandise displayed and sold must be associated with the business itself. As outlined in Lori's narrative, special signage will be allowed on Saguaro Boulevard and Avenue of the Fountains for up to 6 events. Plus, each business will be allowed signage that meets the current sign ordinance guidelines. The request was posted and notices mailed. There were no inquiries and no objections submitted. This is the town center map for various uses today. The areas are outlined show clearly that this comprises a very large area of the commercial properties in the downtown center. Here are the dates originally requested and are in your packet. However, in closer scrutiny, a few days ago, prior to the council meeting, it was recognized that the total number of days requested exceeded the 50 allowed per the ordinance. So Lori met with the Town Center Group and pared down the number of days to ensure compliance. We're asking that you consider these revised dates. Staff recommends that the Town Council approve the temporary use permit for repeating outdoor retail sales events for 2010 for the Town Center, case number TU 2009-06, subject to the stipulations outlined in the staff report and the revised dates presented tonight. I'll be glad to answer these questions, and Lori is here as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gene. Let's see here, can we get a motion to approve temporary use permit TU 2009-06 for the Town Center Merchants Group for repeating outdoor sales, retail sales events for 2010, subject to stipulations outlined in the staff report?
So moved.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, anyone from the public on this item?
No, Mayor.
Any discussion, council? All right, Council, Gene, I think it's good there. I like the revised date, seems to bring a little more focus to it, and hopefully some likely greater attention to the dates that we, as we put together last year, was pretty, there were a lot of dates out there, and I'm not sure the merchants took advantage of it. I'm not sure if it was because there were so many or just the focus wasn't there, but hopefully we can see some greater traction with these by approving these dates. But I think council has proven that we're in favor of supporting businesses and getting out of their way and helping them to succeed, and this looks like another way for us to help them do that. So I'll be in favor of this. We've got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, council, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
All right, Gene, the next item is consideration temporary use permit for the Plaza Fountain side located at 12645 North Swirl Boulevard for repeating outdoor sales events for 2010. Case TU 2009-05.
Thank you. Mayor again. This is another request to consider a temporary use permit. TU 2009-05 for outdoor retail art sales. Diane Sersnicki and Dixie Green, on behalf of Plaza Fountainside, is requesting that the plaza be allowed to conduct outdoor retail sales, art sales in particular, on a number of days, mostly on the first Saturday of each month and during the two large arts and crafts fairs. As the request is for multiple days, again, such temporary permits require town council approval. These events are for calendar year 2010 and will run from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the dates listed on the attached spreadsheet in your packet. These events are of the same nature as was held for 2009. This is an aerial of the Plaza Fountainside property, and was done as was done in 2009. Events will be held in the rear and south side of the property, on the east and southern part of the property. Here are the dates being requested. I believe there are a total of 23. The request was posted. Notices mailed. There were no inquiries or objections submitted. The stipulations are outlined in your staff report and include requirements for the artist to have business licenses, compliance of any signage in the zoning, according to the zoning ordinance, Maricopa County Health Department approvals if appropriate. Staff recommends that the Town Council approve the temporary use permit for Plaza Fountainside outdoor retail sales for repeating events for 2010, for the which is 2009-05, subject to the stipulations outlined in your staff report.
All right, thank you, Gene. Can we get a motion to approve temporary use permit TU 2009-05 for the Plaza Fountainside outdoor retail sales for repeating events for 2010, subject to stipulations outlined in the staff report?
So moved.
Second.
All right, anyone from public on this, Bev?
No, Mayor.
All right, any dialogue, council? All right, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Gene.
You're welcome. One more.
Yes, all right. Next item, public hearing regarding ordinance 09-13, a text amendment to the Town of Fountain Hills zoning ordinance, Chapter 6, sign regulations. We'll open up a public hearing and call on Gene for the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. This agenda item is a public hearing to receive comments regarding text amendments proposed for our sign regulations, in particular the A-frame signs and banners for special sales events. As the council knows, two sign regulation items, commercial A-frames and banners for special sales events, have expiration dates of December 31st of this year. Staff conducted an open house in October to receive feedback from businesses and residents on A-frame sign usage. That feedback was shared with the Town Council on November 5th, along with information on business compliance. Council directed staff to initiate text amendments to these regulations and bring back to Council before year end. Staff and the Town Attorney drafted Ordinance 09-13, amending the sign regulations addressing Council's request. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on November 30th, and the Commission forwarded their unanimous recommendation to approve these amendments. At the November 5th Town Council meeting, Council directed staff to make these changes. Extend A-frame expiration to December 31st, 2010. Extend banners for special sales events to December 31st, 2010. Provide for a more clear definition of promotional. And require businesses to apply for a permit for A-frame signs. You have in your packet the draft text amendments to the sign ordinance, Chapter 6, subsection 6.03A13, was an item of a longer list of signs in the zoning ordinance that are exempt from requiring a permit. By removing item 13, a reference to A-frames, they lose their exemption from requiring a permit. To clarify the term promotional, we added some verbiage to indicate that these signs are not to provide direction to the business. That helps to clear the purpose of the A-frame signs. Finally, there are two sections, one each for A-frames and banners, that we are proposing to modify in order to extend the expiration date 1 year. Staff is working on the process to begin issuing permits for 2010 in January. Beginning in January, we would tend to have the business owners come into Town Hall so that we can explain the details of the ordinance, discuss their planned sign usage, and issue stickers for their signs. We will be proactive in January by visiting as many businesses as possible to inform them of the new ordinance and seek assistance from others, such as the Chamber, to get the word out. Planning and Zoning forwarded their recommendation to the Town Council that they approve the text amendments as proposed. Staff is also recommending that the Council approve the text amendments to the sign regulations as proposed. One small item remains, however. There was lots of discussion about a fee for the sign permits. I believe the consensus was to have an annual $5 fee for the commercial A-frame signs. If that is the Council's desire, then I suggest that there be an amendment to the motion to amend the town fee schedule to include a new $5 fee for commercial A-frames. That completes my presentation, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Gene. Any discussion from council? Councilmember Dickey?
Mayor, can I make the motion just with that then? Doesn't have to...
Not yet, we're
Did
still
we
in
have
the-
an amendment yet?
No, we're in the public hearing.
Oh, okay.
Next item will be a motion to consider.
All right.
Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
All right, any other discussion in the council before we close the public hearing? All right, we'll close the public hearing and move on to item 11, consideration ordinance 09-13, a text amendment to the Town of Fountain Hills zoning ordinance, Chapter 6, sign regulations, as just discussed. Now, Councilmember Dickey.
Thanks,
Like
Mayor.
to make
Sorry
a
about that.
motion?
I move that the Town Council approve ordinance number 09-13, text amendments to Chapter 6 of the Town of Fountain Hills zoning ordinance to include a $5 annual fee. Is that okay?
Or commercial A-frames, to amend
And
the
to
fee
add-
schedule.
For commercial A-frame? For commercial.
And add a fee
But it is
schedule
commercial.
to the commercial. Did that cover it, Gene? I don't think so. That'll do?
That'll do. All we need, Mayor, is some direction as part of the motion to amend the fee schedule from now until the next budget cycle, which is coming up very soon.
Okay, so we got a great motion. How about a second?
Second.
Wow. All right, let's see here. No, we already did the speaker cards. We have nothing. All right, any other discussion? All right, all in favor of 09-13 indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next, we'll open up a public hearing on adopting the Town of Fountain Hills General Plan 2010 and call on Mr. Turner for a staff report on the general plan for 2010. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. This is almost the last step in a very long process that began over 2 years ago. If the Town Council approves the new general plan this evening, it will be on the ballot of an election in May of 2010. State law requires that the voters of a community ratify their general plan at a general election. State law also requires a 2/3 vote of the council in order to adopt the general plan, or in this case, of this council, that's 5 affirmative votes. The existing general plan was approved on June the 20th of 2002. It was ratified by the voters on September the 10th of that same year. It satisfied the Growing Smarter Act and Growing Smarter Plus legislation, and it also updated the original general plan for Fountain Hills that was adopted in 1993. Since the adoption of the 2002 plan, there have been many changes in the town that would certainly warrant adoption or a new general plan. The town has increased in size by approximately 11% due to the annexation of the former state trust land. The population of the town has increased almost 30% from the 2000 census numbers. A strategic plan has been adopted by this council and is currently in the process of being updated. Environmental policies have been adopted by the council. A vision plan for the downtown area has been approved, and that is also on tonight's agenda for approval. And the town is currently experiencing adverse economic climate, which presents quite a challenge. A few elements of the review process of the new General Plan 2010. There have been 8 meetings of the Planning and Zoning Commission committee that was appointed to study this plan. They did a very comprehensive review of the plan and went through each of the goals and objectives. There are 33 goals and 143 objectives in this new plan. The revised plan was transmitted for review by 36 reviewers in early September. Many of those reviewers is required by statute. It was also put on the town's website. There was a public open house held at the end of September. There have been some work studies, 2 public hearings in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and this is the hearing in front of the Town Council. Again, as I mentioned before, there will be an election in May of 2010, provided the Council approves the plan this evening. There have been many changes from 2002 plan to the 2010 plan. Most of those changes are in the form of minor updates, changes in wording, and changes in format. There have also been new goals and objectives and changes to goals and objectives that existed in the 2002 plan. A list of implementation activities has been added at the end of the plan. Included among those activities are area-specific plans. The Elman property, also known as the Fountain Hills Investment Company property, has we amended the 2002 plan to accommodate the development of that property, and with the 2010 plan gives us an opportunity to put that information in this plan. There are also new exhibits on soils, zoning, land ownership, and service employment uses. The environmental policies adopted by the council have been included, a section on the financial overview of the town. A sidewalk plan is included in the appendix of the plan, and the area-specific plans are identified on the general land use plan by a crosshatch pattern. We've also provided or amended the general plan to clarify distinctions between major and minor amendments, being careful to respect elements of state law. The net result is that there will probably be more minor amendments, keeping in mind that even minor amendments are subject to all the notice provisions and public hearings in front of the Planning Commission and this Council. As I mentioned earlier, also on this agenda is the Downtown Vision Plan in the form of an area-specific plan. We received feedback on our transmittal of the general plan. We've received public comment in response to putting the plan on the website. We've also received written correspondence from the Sanitary District and the Chaparral City Water Company, and their input has been included in the edition of the plan that has been provided to you. We've also received supportive comments from the Maricopa Association of Governments. We received comments from the chairman of the Strategic Planning Action Commission, Advisory Commission, 7 comments that resulted in 5 recommended plan changes. The Fountain Hills Investment Company, formerly known as Elman throughout the plan, they have recommended that the term Elman be replaced with former state trust land. We accept that proposal, support that. We also find that where the plan refers to the transfer or purchase of the property, we're suggesting using Fountain Hills Investment Company, a subsidiary of the Elman Companies. We've also received comments from Councilmember Dickey, and she submitted 9 comments, which resulted in 5 plan changes. We received emails from resident George Williams, the last one as recently as today. We've received comments from Tom Ward, Director of Public Works, who recommended reconsideration of the designation of Grande as a truck route, and we have no objection to that. This is the general land use plan for the new general plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission also added a new objective regarding trails in washes. I should point out that the town code would require a vote of the residents for any development in washes. And with the exception of that new objective, staff is in agreement with the unanimous recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission, which is to approve the general plan. Their recommendation includes changes that have been, or addresses the changes proposed by the SPAC chairman, Councilman Dickey's comments, the Fountain Hills Investment Company comments, and the comments of the Public Works Director. And all of those were summarized for you in a sheet that I electronically provided you the other day and also in your mailboxes. Hopefully that will prove useful this evening. So it is the recommendation of staff that the Town Council approve Resolution 2009-43 adopting the new General Plan 2010 with amendments. According to state law, 5 affirmative votes are required for passage. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Richard. Discussion from council members? Questions for staff on the general plan? Councilmember Archambault.
Thank you, Mayor. Richard, could you speak to item number 13 on the sheet that you electronically emailed us and stuck in our box? And that's pertaining to the trails in the washes.
Yes, Mayor Schlum and Councilmember Archambault. That was added by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There was some testimony offered at the Planning Commission public hearings supporting the creation of this objective, and they created it at the last meeting and added it to the list. We note, though, having done some investigation afterwards, that it does conflict with existing provisions in the town code that, with regard to, that state that any development in the washes requires a vote of the residents of the town.
So if you were to move forward with item number 13, actually staff's recommendation, we don't move forward with item number 13.
That would be correct.
But if we were going to move forward with that, any development you were going to do in the wash, whether it was just a a lightly maintained trail would have to go to a vote of the registered voters, correct?
That's the way I read the town code, yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm not forgetting into that area. You know, the voters have kind of told us what they wanted, that's why that's in the ordinances. I was surprised that planning and zoning didn't look at that before they made that recommendation and passed it on. Do you have any comment on that?
Mayor Schlum, Councilmember Archambault, I'm probably at fault for that. I wasn't fully aware of all the implications of this at the time. I did state that I believed that there was a conflict with the town code, and I believe that's reflected in the draft minutes, but I could have perhaps been a little more definitive.
Okay, so do we have, when we make a motion, do we have a motion in the motion? Will that exclude item 13 if we were to make the motion as suggested? Or do we have to specifically add that to the motion?
Mayor Schlum and Councilmember Archambault, subject to the correction of our learned attorney, I believe that will be correct. You'd approve the resolution with all the amendments with the exception of Amendment 13.
Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to look at the suggested motion here.
It's on page
96.
Okay.
Mayor.
Okay, go ahead, Councilmember Leger.
Mayor. Oh.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Richard. With respect to P&Z's drafting of that item number 13 to allow possible trail access development in washes, I appreciate you clarifying that. I also want to respect the spirit of, the folks that made that particular recommendation. However, I would agree with you. I see no need to have that in our general plan, in that we have a code that states it needs to go to a vote. But in looking at the town code, there's also a provision in there very much like what P&Z was proposing, and that's provision 934, which talks about if this is brought up, there's a process for doing it, it's investigated, we look at all of the areas, we consider changes in the town and attitude, so forth and so on, and then go to a vote. So I think in retrospect, P&Z had an idea, they discussed it, and I think our town code does enable that process. Is that an accurate statement? Or
Mayor Schlum, Councilmember Leger, certainly, I think we're both looking at the same town code. Yes, I think that's accurate. The town code does provide for those studies and investigations and a vote.
So it'd be academic, even if we were in agreement with that statement, to have it in.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Dickey.
Mayor, thank you. I wanted to mention, you said that Mr. Williams had given you some comments early on, and then we got some today. Just to clarify the idea that we want to get this on the ballot in May, what are our limitations with that, as far as timing?
Timing
Yeah.
wise?
Just in general, I'm not...
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Dickey, I'm going to look at Bev on this one, but I think that our May deadline is sometime about the second or third week in January. Okay. This was one of two meetings, I believe, we had the opportunity, this and the first meeting in January. I think the second meeting in January was cutting it a little close.
Too late. Second meeting in January is too late.
Okay.
So you've got now and January 7th as your two options.
Thank you. He did have some good points that I like, but correct me if I'm wrong, but many of them I think can be pursued separate from this document. So I don't think that by saying we would move ahead today, that would make this be something that any of these ideas would be something that we couldn't pursue. But I did want to ask about the date on his behalf. And I just wanted to explain about some of the air stuff, just that I felt that there were some items in there, ozone versus PM10 and other things like that, that could use some clarification, because this is a document that will exist for, quite a while. And I wanted to thank Richard and for talking to Maricopa County, Frank Schinzel, because I believe that he was very helpful. Just by coincidence, he happened to be in the office yesterday, and so I talked to him, and they were very happy to help. And if anybody has any questions about that, we can go further with that, but just be confident that Richard did go there to the Clean Air, Make More, so that's it.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? Any speaker cards on this item?
Yes, Mayor, we have two. George Burke.
All right. Welcome, Mr. Burke.
I'm speaking to the issue of Grande as a truck route. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is George Burke, and I live and own property with my wife at 17237 East Grande Boulevard. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. Most workdays, often before dawn, concrete and very large material trucks rumble by our residence on East Grande, usually en route from the reservation to the Verdes, Rio Verde, Tonto Verde, Vista Verde, and surrounding areas. The rattling empty trucks return to the reservation using the same route. The specific route begins on the far east side of the reservation, and the trucks traverse the reservation, enter East Grande, turn north on Saguaro, and then north on Fountain Hills and McDowell Mountain Road to their destination in the Verdes. The circuitous route is taken in spite of the fact that there is a shorter, direct road within the reservation to the Verdes that would save significant fuel and offer relief to our residents. Residents of the Verdes, since I lived there for 40 years, use this direct road to reach the casino or Highway 87. It is strange that garbage trucks may not begin serving town residents until after 6 a.m., while behemoth concrete and material trucks are welcome to ply the streets 24 hours a day, disrupting sleep and quiet of our residents. One example illustrates the out-of-control nature of this problem. Not too long ago at 3:20 a.m., it's 3:20 in the morning, I was abruptly and rudely awakened by several concrete trucks passing by our residence. Over the next hour, more than 20 trucks labored by, using the described route between the concrete plant and the Verdes. The next morning, I called the concrete company to complain, and the spokesman offered no apology and tersely stated that they had a large pour in the Verdes. My neighbors advised that this absurdly early morning junket has occurred many times in the past. This is my third attempt in the past few years to have this problem corrected. In March of 2007, I was advised that the problem stems from the fact that East Grande has been designated a truck route. This seems to me to be preposterous. East Grande is totally residential. There are more than 100 single-family homes and condos. There is no commercial property. Grande is one lane east and one lane west, with children, dog walkers, joggers, and bicyclers using the street amidst this truck traffic. Remember, there is a direct route to the Verdes within the reservation.
Mr. Burke, you have 15 seconds to wrap it up.
Further, an even worse future problem is presented with the promise of development of the Elman property. Concrete and material for the construction of more than 1,300 homes and infrastructure will be conveyed over Grande Boulevard will be devastating. Property values will plummet further along Grande, and the infected residents will never achieve the height of desert living in Fountain Hills. Happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Burke, and thank you for your letter.
Mr. Thorpe?
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. I'm here to address the issue of trails as mentioned in the general plan. And I strongly urge you, if you have to make a change in the language because of the issue of voting on trails and washes, I urge you to at least leave language encouraging the development of trails that are not in washes. The general plan as previously written included a statement saying the town should continue to encourage the development of trail systems that link Fountain Hills with McDowell Mountain Regional Park, the City of Scottsdale Trail System, and potential trail systems on both the Salt River, Pima Maricopa Indian Community, and the Fort McDowell Yavapai Nation. That's on page 6, Objective 5.1. However, it does not say anything, or did not say anything, about development of trails within Fountain Hills proper, only about linking to outside trails. And I encourage the town council to make sure that there is language in the general plan that does encourage the development of trails in Fountain Hills, because those are a resource that make our community much more pleasant to live in and make it attractive for people to buy property here, which supports all of our property values. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thorpe. Appreciate it. Is that it? Mr. Turner, do you want to speak to either of the two folks in the public, Mr. Burke and Mr. Thorpe? It seems Mr. Burke's comments will be reflected in the change you're suggesting to the truck route.
Mayor Schlum, that's correct. Amendment 12 states that the town will work with the Fort McDowell Yavapai Nation to consider changing the designation of Grande Boulevard as a truck route. With regard to the trails, if the town council wished to leave in something encouraging unpaved trails and omit the washes aspect of that, they could, with regard to number 13, they could exclude the phrase that about in the third line that starts with including trails that can be built in washes. And if you just take that out, then I believe that you've eliminated that conflict.
So that would encompass linkage of trails throughout our community?
Then that objective would say the town should investigate the development of unpaved trails within the town limits that provide opportunities for recreation, enjoyment, and use of the Sonoran Desert, subject to the appropriate findings and studies in places where they have little impact on residential developments and natural wildlife.
Okay. Good. Thanks for speaking to those things. Any other council discussion during the public hearing? All right, we'll close the public hearing and move on to item 13, consideration resolution 2009-43, adopting the Town of Fountain Hills General Plan 2010 as just discussed, and calling a special election to be held on May 18, 2010 for a voter ratification of the new general plan as required by state law. Can we get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, discussion, council?
I'll make an amendment.
Can we leave it like that, what you just said? Because you said as just discussed, so that means
Well,
what
I
we
think it would
just...
include that item clarification that
Great.
Richard had. Okay, Andrew? Thank you. Discussion on the motion? Councilmember Hanson.
Thank you, Mayor. What Ginny brought up before about our drop-dead date to approve this, I think I would have been more comfortable to wait until the first meeting in January, just since we got these 2 pages of amendments yesterday. And as Richard pointed out in his staff report, we still don't have approved minutes from P&Z. We only have draft minutes. And I think I would just be more comfortable waiting. It would give the press time to get these amendments and some discussion of what took place at P&Z, because that was just last Thursday, and just give it a little bit more time to perk.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Councilmember Hanson. Mr. Turner, did you have to speak to that?
Mayor Schlum, unfortunately, the Planning and Zoning Commission is not scheduled to meet until the 14th of January, which is after your next meeting.
So could this just be, in essence, continued until our next council meeting, or it would have to go back to P&Z? Why would it have to go back to P&Z? Because of this?
If you wanted the approved minutes from the Planning and
Oh, I
Zoning
see what you're
Commission.
saying, for the approved minutes. Okay, so short of approved minutes, if we wanted to consider, as Councilmember Hanson suggested we might want to consider, is just bringing it back, just allowing for an additional two weeks, in essence, for the public to noodle on.
And another thing, because of the amendments, I was wondering, Andrew, is this something that would have to be reposted because it's been changed, or are the changes not substantive enough to require that?
Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, I think the latter. I think they're not substantive enough to send it back through the hearing process.
Okay. Good, so we have a motion and a second to accept General Plan 2010. Any other comments? Councilmember Hanson brought up perhaps continuing it. Is that the right language here, Councilmember?
I think I'd probably make that
Okay.
motion.
And do we, since would that be an amendment to the motion?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we can do that? We can do an amendment that would,
It's just a superior motion.
oh, it's motion by
Yeah,
itself.
okay.
It trumps it, okay. So we have a motion. Would you like to word it, Councilmember Hanson?
Move to continue this to the first meeting in January.
I'll second that. Now we don't have discussion, if I remember right,
Other than just on whether or not.
other than just to table it or not. Councilmember Dickey, hello.
Mayor, on the motion to continue, or table out, is it continue or table? I forgot.
To continue.
To continue, on the motion to continue, would that cause any problem for staff or spending extra resources or any reason to not do that?
Mayor Schlum, Councilmember Dickey, I can't think of any reason why it would cause us any problem.
All right. Councilmember Archambault.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry, but I'm not seeing any compelling reason why to continue. How many public meetings have you had, Richard?
Well, Mayor Schlum, Councilmember Archambault, we had the public open house in September. We had 2 work studies. We've had 2 public hearings in front of the Planning Commission, and we've had this public hearing. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6.
I don't understand how a week, especially, or the next meeting, especially when you're getting into the holiday season, everybody's going to be going anyhow. I don't know what we're going to gain by that, other than just dragging it out, and I can't see any difference. Our next meeting is what, January 7th? So everybody would get back from the holidays maybe that weekend and be back to work on the 4th, and I could see the argument coming back again, oh, somebody just found out about the general plan and they want these changes, and can we continue it again? I mean, they've had plenty of opportunities, and we talk about moving the town forward and being in a positive motion, and I'm sorry, I can't support that. I think they've had plenty of opportunity for input. We've had these things for a while. I've had plenty of time to look at it, and I went hunting for a week. And I'm certainly well-versed on this. I'm pretty good, so thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on the motion to continue? Councilmember Leger.
Mr. Turner, please. If in fact we were to continue, would you bring this back with revised language for item number 13?
Mayor Schlum and Councilmember Leger, I wouldn't make any changes other than the ones I've introduced this evening.
Okay. Which were, that's what I'm referring to.
Yes.
So the agenda item before us in the staff report would have item 13 with its new language in it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Any other questions or discussion on the item to continue it? All right. Call for affirmative. Roll call to continue. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Hanson?
Aye.
Councilmember Brown?
Nay.
Councilmember Archambault?
Nay.
Councilmember Cantino?
Aye.
Councilmember Leger?
Nay.
Mayor Schlum?
Aye.
And Councilmember Dickey?
Aye.
4 to 3.
Okay.
Aye.
So we will continue this till the next agenda, bring back basically as it is, give the public and others additional 2 weeks to consider the general plan 2010. Thank you very much, Richard. All right. Item 14. Public hearing to receive comments on Resolution 2009-40, a proposed downtown Fountain Hills area-specific plan. We'll open the public hearing and look to Bob for a report. Welcome, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. You should be pretty familiar with this by now. The Downtown Area Specific Plan is the result of a joint process of the Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, the Town Council, and Swaback Partners in order to better align the downtown core area with its future development potential. The plan was presented to citizens through open public forums in which participants asked questions and provided opinions, advice, and insight. This final downtown area specific plan is the product of months of research, staff reviews, town council reviews, and focus group observations. We analyzed the strengths and weaknesses of our current downtown. We looked at the traffic, both vehicular and pedestrian, both existing and expected, and we looked at parking, both existing and expected. Realizing that people rarely like to walk more than 1,000 feet from their parked car, we looked at the walking distances to points throughout the downtown in relation to the parking area locations. The result of this process is a downtown area-specific plan which contemplates 9 separate districts. Each district has a unique character of its own, but each district will also blend with other districts to form a cohesive downtown theme. And I'll briefly run through each district. The business district starts mid-block between the Avenue of the Fountains and Parkview Drive. The district extends beyond Palisades Boulevard, wrapping around Verde River Drive between La Montana and Saguaro Boulevard. This will be the center of the downtown commerce, promoting entrepreneurship through retail and other business-related uses. The Avenue District encompasses not only the Avenue of the Fountains, but also the northern portion of Verde River Drive. This will be the downtown core. With a comfortable atmosphere for shopping and strolling, it will become a shopping destination and a must-visit magnet for visitors. The South End District lies between the Avenue of the Fountains and El Lago Boulevard, and from Saguaro Boulevard to just west of Verde River Drive. The South End District is envisioned as a mixed-use downtown residential district, complemented by small shops and offices. This district also proposes to contain a village square that provides a prominent downtown park. The residential district is on the west side of La Montana. This district has already been developed with condominiums. This district helps provide a population base for the downtown area. The West Side District is the vacant area between the Avenue of the Fountains and Palisades Boulevard. It wraps around behind Bash's Plaza along Westby Drive. This district will be a true mixed-use district. It contains one of the potential locations for a future large entertainment anchor, such as the theater. The Civic District is the current location of the municipal buildings, and a possible location for future community resources, such as a community pool or other amenities. The Service District is already developed as the Bash's Plaza, located on the corner of La Montana and Palisades Boulevard, and is an important component in the business community. This district provides high-quality, community-oriented retail and businesses. The Lakeside District is the portion of Fountain Park directly east of Saguaro Boulevard, and this area could see the most dynamic changes with emphasis on amenities, public open space, terraced gardens, and a potential performance venue. Small retail restaurants and specialty shops are also potential uses for the area. The Park District contains the remainder of Fountain Park. More amenities such as trees, lights, and additional park furniture are all possibilities. In addition to adding more trees to the park, the downtown area-specific plan encourages a general sprucing up or greening of the vacant areas throughout the downtown. Cleaning up and temporarily planting trees and shrubs will help enhance the downtown and lessen the visual impacts of vacant lots. The area-specific plan also has numerous recommendations for streetscape enhancements throughout the downtown area, again with the idea of improving the overall appearance and creating a more comfortable atmosphere for people walking in the area. It's a quick summary. The downtown area-specific plan has been designed to be flexible and proactive. It creates a vibrant and successful downtown, has 9 distinct yet integrated districts. It will help in targeting specific development for specific locations. It will act as a guide for future developers who want to see where the town would like to go and what we would like to see. It assists in the creation of marketing and research materials and strategies. The area-specific plan will help create an attractive atmosphere for businesses and customers, and it will enhance the residents' quality of life and attract new visitors. The Town Council has already approved the downtown vision and directed staff to process that plan as this area-specific plan. the Planning and Zoning Commission held their public hearings on November 30th and December 10th, and have forwarded a recommendation to the council to approve the area-specific plan. And staff also recommends approval of the downtown area-specific plan. And that concludes my presentation. You can answer questions.
Thank you, Bob. Any council discussion on this item before we look for speaker cards? Anyone from the public on this
No,
item?
Mayor.
Any further discussion during the open public hearing, council, on the area-specific plan? Although likely, I think on our next item, we may consider to continue this until our next meeting as well, as it's related to general plan. But any comments? All right, we'll close the public hearing, move on to item 15, consideration of Resolution 09-40, adopting the downtown Fountain Hills area-specific plan as just discussed. Look for a motion.
So motion to approve.
A motion to approve.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to approve and a second of the area-specific plan. Would it make sense, or discussion on that item, would it make sense to continue this in light of the general plan being continued as well? As we need, we kind of want both of them together. Andrew?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it isn't entirely required to move it after the general plan, but we'd placed it there because of the order in which we think the two things will be adopted. That the general plan anticipates all the specific area plan ideals in it, so that when it's adopted, it'll incorporate everything that's in the plan. So it was on the agenda in that order because it made sense. I don't know that adopting one before the other is necessarily problematic for us. It all essentially goes to the voters through the ratification of the general plan anyway.
Okay, so we do have a motion to approve Resolution 09-40 adopting the area-specific plan as outlined in the staff report and in the attached area-specific plan. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that item? All right, all in favor indicate in favor of Resolution 2009-40 adopting the area-specific plan indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Mayor, 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next item, council discussion direction to the town manager. Any items to be followed up on here, town manager, for our next meeting other than to bring back our general plan? Anything to update us on that you wish to share tonight, Rick?
I think recently I sent you some information about a proposed aviation committee. Review that information if you can thoroughly. I'm open to any questions you have about that. Other than that, just have a very safe and Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you. Wanted to thank Bev Town Clerk, I think, for putting together the stockings for council members here.
That was an elf.
That was whom?
That was an elf.
Oh, an elf did
Yes.
this. Oh. If you can read them on the television, you'll see some say naughty on them, some say nice. So if you can't read them, you can use your own, you can put your own labels on it. But thank you for putting that up there to get us in the spirit, and I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas as well. And with that, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Take care. Happy New Year.
We should have waited about 5 minutes. Thinking about this.
You need to organize.